Hi, it's Tom Wells again for Federal Student Loan Forgiveness. Today we're going to examine the 5-step method to apply for student loan forgiveness. All graduates have a dream, and this focus tends to be in one particular field. It doesn't matter if it is nonprofit, business, or even politics. Everybody has to find their stride. However, mounting debt from student loans waits for nobody, and the 6-month grace period flies by quickly. People in public service are probably the most affected since their salaries are a pittance compared with those in the regular sector. That wouldn't be so bad if the cost of student loans did not hit in the pocketbook. Remember, discretionary income is much lower, and with a great chunk of that taken up already with monthly repayments, there isn't a whole lot left over. The President apparently is feeling their pain and has passed legislation in the form of the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, or PSLF, in 2007. The good news is that it's relatively easy to work through with only 5 steps to finish. Graduate students must first ascertain whether they have federal direct loans. These are the only ones that are forgiven under this program. Grad Plus loans also fit under this umbrella, but parents have to qualify in this case, not the student. Find out if the employer is eligible for the program. Full-time employment with a public service organization is necessary for any graduate seeking assistance. Such jobs as Peace Corps volunteer, city, state, or federal government workers, legislative aides, and others will qualify under this type of help. The main factor that decides whether or not the employer meets the standards is whether the firm is tax exempt. Once that fact is established, an employment verification form must be submitted. It is recommended by the federal government that this paperwork be filed on an annual basis. The next step is to find a plan that actually qualifies. The lender should be able to come up with this information, since the process itself can be quite confusing. Some plans are covered while others aren't, so make sure the correct one is selected before continuing this process. It is vital to pay the direct loan payments on time each month for a full calendar year. Working for an eligible employer should make this easier for anybody looking for student loan forgiveness. The chances of receiving help will also increase when the payment record is examined. There should also be no issue of default or waiving of the grace period, because that will end the application process immediately. The last step is the easiest. Submit the public loan forgiveness application. Once all of the other steps have been completed, this one should be a piece of cake. It would typically take 1 to 2 months for processing. One final warning for anybody sitting on the fence. As with everything political, this program might dry up at any time. That is why it is imperative to get the ball rolling and complete the steps for federal aid. Thanks for watching.